Don't move to Fort Lauderdale until you watch this video. Welcome to the Living Fort Lauderdale channel, where we cover anything and everything related to moving to or living in Fort Lauderdale and the surrounding areas. Make sure to subscribe below if that's what you're looking for. And if you didn't know, I am a licensed real estate broker here in the state of Florida. So this number that's popping up right here, that's how you can get a hold of me. Call, text, email, any time of day, nights, weekends. I'd love to hear from you. So excuse the noise if you hear some airplanes, helicopters. I am currently sitting at the Pompano Beach Community Center. There's an airport right next door. Today we're going to be talking about not moving to Fort Lauderdale unless you can handle some of these things. Not necessarily negative, but I am here at the Pompano Beach Community Center. This place is massive. It's pretty amazing, actually. This is my first time inside of here, which brings me to the first thing is don't move to Fort Lauderdale unless you want an active lifestyle. Now, obviously, you can live here and not be active, but my whole point is that this place is just filled with activity. I'm going to show you some footage of this park alone. I mean, there's hundreds of these parks in the area. Like I was saying, there's hundreds of parks in this area, and this one is impressive. I mean, I'm staring at a baseball field, full-size baseball field. There's a jungle gym to the right of me. There's a soccer field somewhere behind me. There's an aquatic center. There's an amphitheater. There's dog parks. This place is massive. And this is just Pompano Beach, okay? This is just the Pompano Beach Community Center. This does not include the Fort Lauderdale metro area. I'm talking hundreds of parks with trails, with dog parks, walking trails, running trails, and it's just part of the lifestyle here. It's a very healthy, active lifestyle. You're gonna see people outside all the time, running, walking their dogs, yoga in the park, yoga on the beach. There's outdoor gyms, there's indoor gyms. I mean, biking, you name it, rollerblading. I can't say it enough, but the active outdoor lifestyle here is pretty impressive. I would say if you're gonna move here, again, you don't have to necessarily be an active person, but it'd be awesome to take advantage of it. The weather here is beautiful all year long. It just makes for the perfect opportunity. And speaking of dogs, which I just mentioned about the number of dog parks here, is number 2, don't move to Fort Lauderdale if you don't like dogs. Now, this one's kind of funny. It's just because Fort Lauderdale is extremely dog friendly. People bring their dogs everywhere out here. Shopping, out to eat, outdoor dining. I mean, I haven't seen a dog inside at a restaurant yet. There's still time, but people bring their dogs everywhere like they're their children. Now, I haven't had a bad experience. I've seen dogs in the grocery store, Walgreens, Publix, Target. I mean, you name it. There goes another airplane. I'm gonna try to talk over it. It's actually the same helicopter that's been circling, so I see a pattern here. Anyway, if you're not a dog person, you should probably just shut this video off now anyway, because I don't even want to talk to you. I'm just kidding. But Fort Lauderdale is very dog friendly. South Florida in general is very dog friendly. So if you don't like dogs, you probably shouldn't move here. All right, number 3, getting onto a little bit more of a serious topic, is gonna be walkability. I have made a whole video on the most walkable areas. There are certain pockets that are very walkable in the Fort Lauderdale area, but as a whole, as a majority, Fort Lauderdale is not the most walkable place around. Downtown Fort Lauderdale, Flagler Village, certain neighborhoods are very walkable on the beach, but as a whole, it would benefit you to get a car. Now, I know people are gonna argue with me all day because it already happens. People who don't have a car and they make it just fine, and that's completely fine. You know, if you have no problem taking an Uber, or you live in one of those areas that maybe is a little bit more walkable and you don't have a problem just taking an Uber on your short day trips or whatever it may be, then fine. But Fort Lauderdale, if you're looking for true walkability like you're gonna find in New York City, San Francisco, places like that, you probably shouldn't move to Fort Lauderdale. And speaking of getting around, the next thing is that I want to talk about is going to be mass transit. So again, people will tell me that the busing system here is great, the train is great, and I would agree to an extent that mass transit is pretty good if you're going north and south. If you're going east and west, not so much. Yes, the buses do run out to the suburbs, but that's about it. As far as the train goes, it's gonna take you north and south, and that's about it. So when it comes to commuting for work, if, for example, you live in Fort Lauderdale and you work in Miami or you work in West Palm Beach, the Bright Line train is a great option. If you live in Plantation or if you live in Davie and you work in Miami, you're not gonna quite have that same option. You're gonna have to somehow travel east, whether that's by Uber or by bus. My point is that if you're really looking for a place that has a super great mass transit system, Fort Lauderdale is probably not the place for you. No subways, we just, like I mentioned, basic train north and south, and a pretty decent busing system, but nothing too crazy. The next reason you might not want to move to Fort Lauderdale is because of these airplanes that keep flying over my head. The next reason you might not want to move to Fort Lauderdale, and I haven't really talked about this one too much, is gonna be, how do you put this? The lifestyle and entitlement. So South Florida, it's no secret, is a very flashy place. The people here can feel a little bit entitled, especially if you're coming from a place where, you know, in the Midwest, where people are very friendly, maybe out in the country. It's probably gonna be quite a bit of a shock to you. People can be pretty rude down here, but at the same time, people can be very friendly. I've met both. So I'm not saying that everybody down here feels entitled, but if you're not used to that super flashy, super out there, showing off lifestyle and somewhat sense of entitlement, Fort Lauderdale is probably not the place for you. Miami is definitely not the place for you. And it's kind of funny because that's something that I find that a lot of people don't really talk about. I don't know if it's gonna offend some people. I really don't care. My job is to let you know everything that you need to know before you take that dive and make that move to a completely new state. And if you do have any more questions about moving down here, or you are planning a move, I'm gonna pop my number up again. That's how you can get a hold of me at any time of day or night. Give me a call, shoot me a text. If you don't want to, send me an email. We'll start there. Either way, I'm here to help you. So with that, I appreciate you watching. Thank you, and we'll see you on the next one.